Hello, this is my 20 time project, and this will be the pansexual section. Before we get on to the interview, I would like to go over a little bit about what pansexual and panromantic means. Pansexual is not being limited to in sexual choice with regard to biological sex or gender identity, and panromantic is just not limited romantically to gender identity or gender sex, meaning that pansexual and panromantic identifications is that you love all. There's no limits. You love all of them. You'll sexually, romantically. There's no limits. You've got no judgment. You've got no preference. I mean, you might have preference, but it's not strictly limited like bi or homosexual or heterosexual.
What does it mean to you to be pan?
That is a good question. Personally, like I said, I don't really identify with like a lot of labels. I think sexuality and gender is very fluid, and like with that view, for me, it doesn't really matter who you are or where you've been or where you're going, like how you identify doesn't matter to me. I feel more attached to like personality and like our relationship attachment rather than your gender or your sexuality.
Right.
And so like being pansexual is just a very wide spectrum, and I'm open to all of it.
There you go.
And that's what it means to me.
All right. What was your coming out experience like?
I didn't really have to come out with my parents. My parents are very well versed in the LGBTQ community. My mom's bisexual. My dad doesn't really care. And like literally all of my siblings, my three siblings are all part of the LGBTQ community.
Right.
And so I didn't really have to have a coming out experience with my parents. It wasn't like strange to them. It was just normal. Like people don't have to come out as straight.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really have to come out in that sense because it's just normal life for us. But as far as my grandmother goes, like I got fully disowned for a couple of years before she kind of learned that she had to accept it. I came out to her as genderqueer and as, you know, like I'm gonna like whoever I like, no matter their gender. And she was just like, she wasn't okay with it. And I didn't make a big deal of it. I cut her out of my life. Because if I'm not gonna have that support from her, then she doesn't get to be a part of my experience.
Makes sense, yeah.
And so, as far as my parents go, I had a good coming out experience, but it took a while to get acceptance from my parents.
Totally. That makes sense. And I know you said that you have supportive family members besides your grandma, but were your friends supportive of it?
My friends?
Yeah.
Totally.
Totally.
I mean, most of my friends are part of the LGBT community, if not their allies. I think in the Quad Cities in general, there is a wide spectrum of both hate for it and love for it. There's a block work down in Rock Island that I've been often for like their and for their shows, and it's just there's a wide LGBT community in the Quad Cities as well as there is space. So you know I've had lots of friends who support me and for me to support them in our hard times against like people who don't accept it.
Right, totally. So you have a good experience with friends, family, and all of that. Have you had any like different experiences with the community as a whole, or is it just similar?
I think, as in every community, the LGBTQ community has its faults. I think there's a bunch of gatekeeping, there's a bunch of judgment, and it's never made sense to me. I've had experiences where people have been just a part of the LGBTQ community and just put me down in every way, shape, or form for my invalidating me, saying that I'm not valid, saying that I'm faking it, saying that like all this. But like I think in the community there's so much oppression against each other, and we're all working towards the same cause. And you know, I think like every person has like work to do, and I think we should be doing it together
Yeah,
instead of oppressing each
Yeah, people that are in the community and allies. They've all got work to do to get, better.
to get to where we want to be as far as equal rights.
Oh, totally. I definitely agree with that. So, are there any major hardships that you've gone through being a part of the LGBT community?
Just there's so much
Yeah.
for everyone in the world, but I had to change schools two different times because I was just getting bullied just every day in, day out. Like I was beat up. Like I couldn't ride the bus. I couldn't go places and feel confident about myself. I was just put down day in and day out. But that's just school. But coming to UT was a little bit easier just because I was away from that group. I skipped 8th grade. And so coming to UT a year early kind of gave me a fresh start. And though I had my hardships with it, I feel like it's just a little bit more accepting because we're older, we're more mature.
Right.
But I worked through those hardships. I started a GSA at Glenview, a Gay Straight Alliance, and I spoke out against it. It's just it's just hard. There's always going to be hardships. Outside of school, there's going to be hardships. Often there's no gender neutral bathrooms. Often I get stares and people whispering behind my back. But what can I do? And I just deal with it.
The best we can do is just truck on.
Truck on.
Truck on through it. My final question for you would be, why do you think people struggle to understand the LGBT community?
Because we're different. We're built different.
We're both different.
Just because I think anything that's not society's norm, that's not, it's not normalized. It's alienized. They think we're so different just because of who we choose to love and who we choose to be. And they think it's a choice. But it's not. It's just who you are. And it's not, they're normal and they're afraid of it. They're scared of it. They don't want to learn about it. They don't want to put in the time.
Which is definitely unfortunate because it's not like we're not human just because, we have our own opinions on who we want to love.
Like everyone else. Yeah. I do the dishes like everyone else. I get dressed one leg at a time.
I eat food.
I eat food
just like anyone else.
I eat so many foods.
All the foods. I celebrate the same stuff as everyone else around me. So why should there be, I should be that separation of us just because of who we love?
I'm normal.
You're normal. We are normal, and that's definitely something to embrace.